Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. Here we go. We got audio. We got sound. Let's see. We got me sitting down. forgot to turn the light on. Probably not the best time to start a live stream. Shit, I need to go get something to eat. Give me a second, real quick. Let's go ahead and handle that. So, first things first. Let's switch profiles to. All right. Check, check, check. 1 2 1 2. We are back. I apologize for that. We had to go get some za. You know what I'm saying? Had to go get that za, that pizza, pizza, pizza. All right, cool. Let me go ahead and turn this down. The microphone on the phone. Got that going. We got FL Studios up. Okay. So today's topic is going to be on making melodies. So if you're interested on how to make melodies, stay tuned and I will show you guys how. My name is K Sutra. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time checking out the channel, thank you. Welcome. This is a channel where we mainly focus on entertainment news, music news, and gaming related topics. So things along the lines of music from video games, samples from video games, um, music in general that I like, or music related news. So with that being said, welcome to the channel. If that's something that you find interesting, stay tuned because I'm sure that we'll have a lot more in store for you. But with that being said, today's topic is going to be on the topic of melodies, the discussion centered around melodies and how to make them. So, if that's something that you feel like you're interested in, again, stick around and stay tuned because I'm sure you will learn something by the end of this video. So, let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is getting started with your sounds. So, topic that a lot of people who are first getting started a lot of times forget that this is this is like key. One of the major things that you need to do is focus on the type of sounds that you're playing. So that being said, I like to start with something like a piano. So we'll come in here to piano roll. Let me clear off my desk a little bit. Got a lot of stuff all over the place. know, a lot of people will call you a douchebag for wearing glasses indoors. What if you just don't like looking at lights like that? You know what I mean? What if part of your job involves lights being looked at you and you have no choice, right? Something to think about. Protect your eyes. All right, so let's get started with the scale. We're going to come over here to View. We're going to come to Scale Highlighting. And what this will do is we're going to click Major, and we're in the key of C. Now, the reason that we're picking C is because it's all the white notes. This is very easy to follow along. So if we want to make a major chord with C, we'd start with the C note, go up 1, 2, 3, 4, C, E, G. Okay, so this is a major chord. So you're going to start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, whatever chord that you start on, count that as 0 and then count up. And you'll understand why when I say it like that, just because it's a little easier to understand making a chord. Right, so that's a C major chord. Now, the thing about C major is that it's actually the same as A minor, because A minor is also all the white notes. So now let's make A minor chord. We'll start with A, 0, 1, 2, 3. For a minor chord, we're going to go up 3 notes, and then 4, 5, 6, 7. Audio check, there we go. Okay, sometimes the audio glitches out and we have to reset. No worries. Let's move this over. Sounds very nice, right? Okay, so now that we know what a C major chord is and an A minor chord, let's talk about scales, because that's the easiest way to understand how to make chords, how to make anything really, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to start with the major scale. So I come over here to View. We're going to go to Scale Highlighting. And we're going to come over here to the... Is it the major scale? Yeah. We're going to come to Major Ionian right here. And this is going to highlight all the notes in the C major scale. You can highlight it to any note that you want. You can have it as like E major or D major, whatever, right? Let's come over here again and we'll pick a note. So right now we want it on D major. Here's D. And when we hit major right here for scales, boom, everything is mapped out to the D major. Boom, okay? So these are all the notes that'll work in D major. This is the scale or the key of the song, right? It is in the key of D, and the scale that it's centered around is major. So that's what people mean when they say, what is the key of the song? What is the key? What's the root note of the song? It is what the song starts with, what note it starts with, that fundamental root, and then we go from there is what is the scale that it's in. So it could be a D minor, right? It could, let's go to view, come over here to scale highlighting. We're gonna click minor, natural, or Aeolian. And now when we come over here to Aeolian, D minor, it's going to highlight. And as you can see, in between here, it goes what? Black, light, black, light. Let me actually make it a little easier to see. I know this screen is kind of hard to see, but let's go ahead and brighten it up a little bit. So if we can look in the background, we see some that are kind of grayed out, some lines that are kind of grayed out, and you can see all of my notes fall on the lines that are filled in. All the ones that are like right here, E, F, all the ones that are not grayed out. That's because they're all in the same key. So now, let's go ahead and make some chords, and I'll show you exactly how to manipulate scales and key, and how to make some really good melodies. So let's start over again. We're going to come back up here to empty, start with a fresh track. We don't want to save any changes. We want to just boom, start it over. And FL Studio crashed. No problem. With a click of a button, we can start FL Studio back up. There we go. Now we want to start a new one. And from here, we're going to come to the piano roll with our Rhodes. So let's grab Lounge Lizard, go into piano roll for the Lounge Lizard, and now we're going to hit view, scale highlighting. We're going to start with the key of A minor. So we're going to click minor, come back over here, view, scale highlighting, A. Okay, so now we're going to learn about chord progressions. So to make a chord, I told you you'd start with 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a minor chord. And the same thing for major, you would go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a major. Now, chord progressions are just a mix of minor and major chords. So what I have over here is a couple like cheat sheets, I guess, that you can use to help you. So let's see right here. These are some scales that you might want to start using just to kind of center your beats around for different tempos. I mean, for different genres. So this is like for film score. If you were looking to make a film, you might want to use these scales to kind of center your songs around. And again, the scale just tells you what notes to play for that, key that you're in. Same thing with over here, house music. These are some scales that will work with house music. Now we said we want to use Aeolian. So with Aeolian, that's centered around A minor and C major. Every note has basically like a opposite, a complementary note. So I made this circle of fifths to kind of give you an idea. Let me see. Let me bring it up real quick in my notes. Now, if we come over here, we see C major is right across from A minor. G major is right across from E minor. So if you want to take a screenshot of this, this will show you what notes, or sorry, what key that you would be playing in and what would work well with it. So you know that if you were in F major, if you suddenly started playing some chords that were from D minor, they would work well. They'll go together. And the same thing with right here, this C major to A minor would work well to G major. So now let's try a variation of some keys, right? So I said C major, right? Let's go with that, which is just C, E, G. So C, E, G. Let's do A, C, E, which is going to be A minor. So bring this out all the way. And this is going to be a very basic chord progression, but A, C, E. Now let's start on G. So G would be right here. We would do G major. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right there. So far so good. What else? It says that we could work with from a G major, we could maybe go to a B minor. Let's try that. Let's see what a B minor sounds like. So we'll come down here to our B. Our B is right here. And I said B minor, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Uh-oh. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this right here is out of key. So let's move it up. Let's see what it sounds like when we move it up. Now, if we bring it back down, it's going to sound weird. Yeah, you see how it sounds weird when it's out of key? So that's just something to think about. When you're making your chords, how you start with this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That would be a minor chord. But because of the fact that this is out of key, we'll either bring it down or bring it up so it's back in the scale. So either way works, but I like it better up here. Oh, and if we look at that right here, look, this B minor that we made, if we invert this top note, this G, we see that this makes a G major. So there we go. That's why it sounds good together. Okay, so now I'm going to show you guys a cheat sheet that a lot of producers use to quickly come up with chords. These are chord progressions. So we see right here a 1, 4, 5, 1. Now what that tells us is that if we start in the G major scale, like you see right here, G major, the next chord would be the 4, which is a C major, then to a D, and then back to a G. Now let me show you what I mean, okay? We'll grab the stamp tool, 4 major, and we'll come over here to Tools, View, Scale Highlighting, G major. That's what we want, right? G major. Okay. So for a G major, these are all the notes that'll work well within G major. Let me go ahead and copy these and put it on the sampler. I like to put it on the sampler just so that way we have some reference in the background. That way we can see all the notes from another channel that work well. Another little cheat sheet. Okay. So now, let's zoom in so we can see what we're talking about. Okay. Now, if I start on this, oh, sorry. If I start on this G, that's our 1. Then we come up to A, that's our 2. B, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, until we wrap back around, okay? Now when we talk about chord progressions, that's how we read chord progressions. So you'll say a 1, 4, 5, 1. Okay, a 1, 2, 5, 1. We got a 1, 6, 4, 5. Now, when you're reading these, if it's a capital Roman numerals, that means it's a major chord. If it's lowercase, like this means that it's a minor chord. And you can see right here, all of these lower cases have the M next to them for minor, right? So you know that if you start on the 1, a G major, it goes good with A minor, because if we look in our circle of fifths, A minor, G major, C major, A minor, F major, D minor. All of these scales, all of these keys work well together. You can go from here down to here, up to here, down to here. So as you keep playing around, you can keep moving around the circle of fifths, but as long as you stay relatively close between these two and then move to here, or from here to here and go this way or whatever, as long as you don't skip too far outside of this circle of fifths, your song will sound pretty good. Again, there are a lot of people will say there aren't a lot of rules, right? There are rules when it comes to making music. However, it's only once you understand how the rules work is when you can break them, right? When you understand how things work is when you can break the rules. But until then, learn music theory. Until then, learn the basics of how to make a song sound good, and how to build elements of a sound and a song in a way that is pleasing to your ear. Because if you don't learn that from the get-go, yeah, you can load up Serum and make a bunch of cool sounds, or you can load up this random synthesizer right here. But if you don't know the music theory behind what you're trying to play, it's not going to work. So let's give ourselves a chord progression to stick to real quick. So let's go ahead and pull up our chord progression. And we'll move this to another screen right now. Okay, move this over here. There we go. And let's get rid of this. Okay, so let's start with our G major. And this time we're not going to stick to a scale. We don't want it to do any highlighting or anything like that whatsoever. So we're going to come over here to View. We're going to turn scale highlighting off. I want it to just be default. Okay. Now let's just click major, and this is just gonna make a major note or a major scale. It's not. Jeez, I'm talking too fast for myself. So this is the stamp tool. This is a feature that lets you stamp out a chord that you choose. So I want a major chord, and I want it to be in the key of G. So I'm gonna come down here and hit G. But before I click that, I'm gonna hit only one and make sure that this is not checked, because I don't want it to make just one chord. I want it to make one right here, a G major. Okay. Our next chord is gonna be a C major. So we're gonna come up here to C. Now after C major, we're gonna do a D major. Back down to G. Okay, so now we have a very basic chord progression. Now what we could start to do is build a melody on top of that. So let's do something like this. I like strumming it. I think that sounds really cool. So now you can start building on top of that, right? So you know what your chord progression is. And we know it's a 1, 4, 5, 1. So let's move this down to another key, because it should work in any key. All right. So let's come up with some more chord progressions. Show you guys some new tricks. Okay. FL Studios makes it really easy to come up with chord progressions if you didn't know. And I'm going to show you the easiest way to do so. You come over here to piano roll. You come over here to tools. Come over here to generate chord progressions. And it will pick out a chord progression of your liking. You can come over here to major or minor and choose whether or not you want a specific chord. So the one I just had was a 1, 4, 5, 1. Let's see if we can find that. It's like the one I don't see. Oh, we got a 1, 4, 5, 7. We could do that. Oh, 1, 4, 5, 4. That's what that says. Oh, let's try that. Sounds like some punk rock. Alright. How the heck? Alright, so we're going to copy this over. There we go. Alright, we're almost done. I promise. I want to see if this sounded like some punk rock, which I think it does. Goddamn. Maybe not. Maybe not so much. Let's go to F flex. Let's go to flex. Let's see what we got. made a punk rock beat. God damn. Alright, so let's do one more. This time we're gonna start with a different element. Let's do another keyboard. We'll do Lounge Lizard again. This time the chord progression is gonna start with A. Let's do a 1, 5, 6, 4. So for a 1, 5, 6, 4, we're gonna start with A. 1. So we're gonna do an A major. So for A major, we're gonna go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a major key. So, sorry, A major chord. Now we're gonna do a E major chord. So from here, we're gonna come to E. And because of the fact that E is all the way up here, I'm gonna bring it down. So let's go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't have to worry about these gray notes in the background because we're just playing them out. We're just playing notes. We don't have to worry about a scale or anything like that in the background. We're just doing our own chord progressions. Once the chord progression is done, it will work in whatever key we choose. So we went from A major, E major. Now we're going to do an F minor, F sharp minor, which is going to be this note right here. So we're going to go 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now a D major, which would be B, C, D. Let's bring that down to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because it's major. 5, 6, 7. Sounds good to me. Now let's come into another plugin. Let's load up Flex or something like that and see what sounds we can use with that chord progression that we just made. And let's see what sounds good with it. out there and you feel like chatting, saying what's up. Okay, so we know what our chord progression is, and we know that our chord is our song is in the key of A major, right? So what we could do is first off start messing with it. Yeah, that's like a heavier sound right there. So now we just switched it to E major, right? So now it's in a whole different scale. E major, 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 E major. Okay, let's see. We got audio. Check, check, 1, 2. No audio. Okay. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, check, 1, 2. All right, just no sound. Okay. Uh, Sorry about that, guys. Oh, but it recognizes that I'm trying to close it. It's not gonna play the sound for me. Something going on with the mixer. Let's just save it and come back to it. See what happens. Okay. Okay, so quickest way to make some beats, start off with your chord progression, right? So typical chord progression. Okay, now, easy way to make some notes to go on top of your beat. Let's grab a pluck. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a pluck on every first note. So let's set this to quarter, half beat, sorry. And we know it's in the key of E major. And we can go either up or down. So that's just one of the little tricks I like to use. What I also like to use is come over here, copy, paste, arpeggiate. So we hit Command A, hit Option A. make a flute beat. So again, I was just showing you guys how simple it is to make a melody. So let's go ahead and make our own from beginning. So we're not going to save any changes to that track to throw away. Start with Silent. It's a good plugin. We got some really good pads. Okay, so let's start with a major, C major to A minor. So let's zoom out. Stamp tool. Let's do a major ninth. Do we have those? I don't think so. Let's do this then. Major add 11th. F major to G major. G major would be right there. So let's go ahead and hit major 7th, G right here. Let's go ahead and make a bass line that is in the key of C major. So let's come over here. We'll hit snap to scale. And we're going to go ahead and hit our tools. Main. Better be able to do this. This thing be tripping sometimes. There we go. Okay, so we go to view, scale highlighting, major Ionian, back to view, scale highlighting, and we go to C. Okay, it's on. Cool. And now, one last time, go to view, scale highlighting, snap incoming MIDI to the scale. Sounds like it should be fast. Like a beat in 105. Damn, I'm not even saving anything either. That's all bad. Alright, let's just start over one last time. Stop making brand new beats. We got 8 views so far. 8 people tuned in. C major, A minor. You want a minor ninth? Let's do that. Okay, C major, minor ninth to G major. Do a major seventh. Should be down here. see. What did I say would work? G major, E minor. Let's do E minor. Down here. That works. Alright, so now's when we can get kind of tricky with the sound selection. Let's go ahead and grab some snares. Maybe like a lead in the background, just for like some kind of overtone. Damn, that's harder than I thought. You can always record half the lead, and that'll work too. Alright, so I think I'm pretty satisfied so far with what we got. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna move these up to the top, the drums, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy this pattern, paste it 2 more times. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna leave everything on the first channel except for the, or take everything off except for the kick. Go to the next channel and take everything off except for the snare. And for the last one, take everything off except the hats, the hi-hats and the ride and the crash. so far. Leave a like down below. Comment what your favorite part was, and let me know what you guys want to see in the next video. But as for me, I'm going to have to call it a day. So thank you again for tuning in. I appreciate it. And as always, stay awesome. Until next time, peace out. I'll see you guys next time.